Welcome back to Easy English Talk podcast.
Have you ever been in a conversation where your brain freezes and you just can't find the right English words fast enough? Welcome to Easy English Talk podcast. I'm Ryan, and with me today is Priya. Today we are discussing how to speak English without thinking.
Thanks, Ryan. This is such an important topic for so many learners because speaking without hesitation is what separates confident speakers from nervous ones. And the good news is it's absolutely a skill you can develop.
Exactly. And if you stay with us, we'll explain why your brain slows down when you speak English. We'll also share practical steps that actually help you think less and speak more naturally. By the end, you'll know exactly what to practice and how to change the way your brain works with English.
Perfect. So let's start with the main problem here. Why do so many people feel like they need to translate everything in their head first? It's like there's a delay between thinking and speaking, right?
That's the core issue. Most learners grow up learning English through their native language. They learn grammar rules, vocabulary lists, and they always think in their first language first. So when they want to speak, their brain has to do extra work, and that creates the pause.
And that pause makes you feel slow, uncomfortable, even embarrassed sometimes. You know what you want to say, but it takes too long to get the words out. Meanwhile, native speakers just talk without any visible effort.
Right, and here's what's interesting. Native speakers don't think about grammar while they talk. They don't pause to remember if a verb is regular or irregular. They just speak, because the language is automatic for them.
Exactly. Their brain has practiced English so many times that it became a habit. It's like driving a car. At first, you think about every step, but after enough practice, your hands and feet just know what to do.
That's a great comparison. So the question becomes, how do we make English automatic? How do we stop translating and start thinking in English directly? That's what we need to focus on.
And I think the first thing people need to understand is this won't happen overnight. Your brain needs time to rewire itself and build new pathways. But with the right practice, it will happen faster than you think.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the first major solution. The biggest shift you need to make is to stop studying English like a subject in school. You need to start experiencing it like a language you actually use.
Yes, that means less focus on memorizing rules and more focus on real communication. Think about how children learn their first language. They don't study grammar. They just listen, repeat, make mistakes, and keep talking.
Exactly. And one of the best ways to experience English is through something called input flooding. This means surrounding yourself with English as much as possible every single day. Not for study, just for exposure.
Right. Listen to podcasts, watch shows, play videos in English, even if you're doing something else. Let your brain hear English in the background while you cook, exercise, or relax. This trains your ear and helps your brain get comfortable with the rhythm and flow.
And here's the thing. You don't need to understand every word. Just hearing English regularly helps your brain recognize patterns without effort. Over time, phrases start to sound natural, and you begin to remember them automatically.
I love that. It's like your brain starts collecting pieces of language without you forcing it. And then when you need to speak, those pieces are already there, ready to use. You don't have to search for them or translate them.
Exactly. Now, the second solution is something most people overlook. You need to practice thinking in English, not just speaking in English. And the way to do this is through something called inner speech practice.
Inner speech, that's when you talk to yourself silently in your head, right? This is actually one of the most powerful techniques because you could do it anytime, anywhere. You don't need a partner, a teacher, or even a quiet room.
Right. Start small. When you wake up, try describing your morning in English inside your mind. I'm getting out of bed. I feel tired. I need coffee. Simple sentences, no pressure. Just practice turning your thoughts into English words.
And as you go through your day, keep doing it. Describe what you see, what you're doing. I'm walking to the bus stop. The weather is cold today. I forgot my jacket. It feels strange at first, but it becomes natural very quickly.
Yes, and here's why this works so well. When you think in English, you're training your brain to skip the translation step. You're building a direct connection between your thoughts and English words.
Exactly. And the more you do this, the faster your brain gets at it. Eventually, you'll notice that English thoughts just appear without effort. You won't have to force them anymore.
Now, let's talk about the third solution, and this one is really important. You need to focus on learning phrases and chunks, not individual words. This is how native speakers actually store language in their brains.
Right. Native speakers don't think word by word. They think in groups of words that go together naturally. For example, we don't say I, then am, then going, then to. We just say I'm going to as one smooth piece.
Exactly. So instead of learning the word make, learn phrases like make a decision, make a mistake, make sense. These chunks are easier to remember and they come out faster when you speak. Your brain doesn't have to build the sentence from scratch every time.
Yes, and you can find these chunks everywhere. Listen to conversations, watch movies, read articles. When you hear a phrase that sounds natural and useful, write it down. Then practice saying it out loud several times until it feels smooth.
And here's a little trick. Don't just repeat phrases in isolation. Use them in your own sentences. Change the context a little bit. This helps your brain understand how to use the chunk flexibly in real situations.
I love that. It's like training your brain to be creative with ready-made blocks. You're not memorizing scripts. You're learning pieces that you can mix and match. That's what real fluency looks like.
Absolutely. Now, the fourth solution is about speed and comfort. You need to practice speaking at a natural pace even if you make mistakes. A lot of learners speak very slowly because they're trying to be perfect, and that actually makes things worse.
Right. When you speak too slowly, you give your brain too much time to doubt itself. You start overthinking every word, checking every grammar rule, and that creates more hesitation, not less.
Exactly. So here's what you should do. Set a timer for 1 or 2 minutes. Pick a simple topic like your weekend or your favorite food, and just talk. Don't stop, don't correct yourself, just keep going.
Yes, if you forget a word, skip it or use a simpler word. If you make a grammar mistake, ignore it and keep talking. The goal is to train your brain to keep moving forward without stopping.
And you know what? This feels uncomfortable at first. You'll feel like you're making too many mistakes, but that discomfort is actually progress. It means you're breaking the habit of overthinking.
Exactly. And after a few weeks of this, you'll notice something amazing. Your brain starts to relax. Words come faster. You stop worrying so much, and speaking becomes easier.
Yes, and that brings us to the fifth solution, which is about building confidence through repetition. You need to talk about the same topics multiple times until they become effortless. This is how your brain creates automatic responses.
Right. Think about it. If someone asks you, "What's your name?" you don't think about the answer. It just comes out automatically because you've said it 1,000 times. You need to create that same automaticity with other topics.
Exactly. So pick 5 or 6 common topics: your job, your hobbies, your family, your city. Practice talking about each topic several times over a few days. Use slightly different words each time, but cover the same ideas.
And after a while, you'll have these topics memorized not as scripts, but as flexible knowledge. When someone asks you about your job, your brain will already know what to say. You won't need to think or translate. The words will just flow.
Yes, and this also builds your confidence in conversations because you'll have several topics where you feel completely comfortable. That comfort spreads to other areas of speaking, too.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about something that many learners struggle with: grammar. People think they need to master every grammar rule before they can speak freely, but that's actually the opposite of what helps.
Right. The truth is, you don't need perfect grammar to communicate clearly. Native speakers make grammar mistakes all the time, and nobody cares. What matters is that your message is clear and you keep the conversation going.
Exactly. So stop trying to be perfect. Focus on being understood. If you say, "Yesterday I go to the store," people will still understand you. Yes, the grammar isn't perfect, but the meaning is clear.
And here's what happens when you give yourself permission to make mistakes. You relax, you speak more, you practice more. And the more you practice, the better your grammar becomes naturally over time.
Right, because grammar improves through use, not just through study alone. When you hear yourself make a mistake, your brain notices it. Next time, you'll probably say it correctly without even thinking about it.
Exactly. So don't let fear of mistakes stop you from speaking. Mistakes are part of learning. They're actually proof that you're trying. And every mistake you make brings you one step closer to fluency.
I love that. Now, let's talk about another powerful technique, shadowing. Have you heard of this, Ryan? It's when you listen to native speakers and repeat what they say immediately, almost at the same time.
Yes, shadowing is incredible for building fluency. You put on a podcast, a speech, or a video, and you speak along with the speaker. You try to match their speed, their rhythm, their pronunciation.
Right, and this does something really important. It trains your mouth and brain to work together at a natural speed. You're not thinking about grammar or vocabulary, you're just copying the flow.
Exactly. And over time, that flow becomes part of you. Your brain learns how English is supposed to sound when spoken fluently. And then when you speak on your own, you naturally use that same rhythm.
Yes, start with something easy, like a calm podcast or a simple conversation. Don't worry if you can't keep up at first. Just do your best and practice a little bit every day.
And here's a tip. Use the same audio several times. The first time, you'll struggle. The second time, you'll do better. By the fifth time, you'll be speaking almost perfectly in sync with the speaker.
That's right. And that feeling of speaking in sync is amazing. It builds confidence and proves to your brain that you can speak English fluently. Even if you're just copying someone, your brain doesn't know the difference.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about vocabulary, because this is another area where people overthink. You don't need to know 10,000 words to speak fluently. You need to know the right words and use them confidently.
Right. Native speakers use a core set of maybe 1,000 to 2,000 words in everyday conversation. The rest are specialized or rare, so focus on learning the most common, useful words first.
Exactly. And here's the key. Learn words in context, not from lists. When you learn a word in a sentence, your brain remembers it better. You also learn how to use it correctly right away.
Yes. For example, don't just learn the word run. Learn it in sentences like, I run every morning, or the store runs out of milk sometimes. This way you understand the word's meaning and usage at the same time.
And when you use a word in your own sentences, your brain creates a memory. That memory makes it easier to recall the word later when you need it. So always practice using new words. Don't just write them down.
Absolutely. And don't try to learn too many words at once. 5 new words a day is more than enough. Focus on using those 5 words until they feel natural, then move on.
Right. Quality over quantity. It's better to know 500 words deeply than 5,000 words shallowly. Deep knowledge means you can use the word quickly and correctly without thinking. That's what fluency is.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about something that might sound simple, but is really powerful. Talking to yourself out loud. Not just thinking in English, but actually speaking the words. This is different from inner speech because you're using your voice.
Yes, when you speak out loud, you're activating more parts of your brain. You hear your own voice, you feel your mouth moving, you notice your mistakes. This creates stronger learning than just thinking silently.
Right. So set aside 5 or 10 minutes a day. Go to a private space, maybe your room or your car, and just talk about anything. Describe your day, tell a story, explain something you learned.
And don't worry about sounding perfect. Nobody is listening. This is just practice. The goal is to get comfortable hearing yourself speak English. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes.
Yes, and here's a fun idea. Pretend you're teaching someone something. Explain how to cook a dish, how to use an app, how to play a game. When you explain, you naturally use clear, simple language, and that's great practice.
I love that. Teaching forces you to organize your thoughts and speak clearly. And even though you're alone, your brain is still practicing real communication. That skill transfers directly to real conversations.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about listening, because listening and speaking are deeply connected. If you want to speak without thinking, you need to train your ears first. Your brain needs to recognize English sounds, words, and patterns automatically.
Right. And the best way to do this is through active listening. That means listening with focus, not just having English in the background. Choose something interesting, like a story or an interview, and really pay attention.
Yes, and here's what to focus on. Don't try to understand every single word. Instead, listen for the main ideas, the overall meaning. Notice how sentences flow, how words connect, how speakers pause and emphasize.
Exactly. And when you hear a phrase or sentence that sounds useful, repeat it out loud. This connects listening and speaking in your brain. You're not just absorbing passively, you're actively using what you hear.
Right. And over time, this builds a library of natural English in your mind. When you need to speak, your brain pulls from this library automatically. You don't have to create sentences from scratch. You already have models to follow.
Yes, and that's why listening is so important. It's not just about understanding others, it's about training your own speaking ability. The more natural English you hear, the more naturally you'll speak.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about something practical, conversations. A lot of learners avoid real conversations because they're afraid of making mistakes. But avoiding conversations is the worst thing you can do.
Right, because speaking in real conversations is completely different from practicing alone. In a real conversation, you have to think fast, respond quickly, and handle unexpected questions. That's the only way to build real fluency.
Exactly. So you need to find opportunities to talk with people. It could be a language exchange partner, a tutor, a friend, or even a stranger online. What matters is that you're using English in a real, unpredictable situation.
And here's the thing. You will make mistakes. You will feel nervous. That's completely normal. But every conversation, even a short one, makes you stronger. Your brain learns to handle pressure, and that's how you build confidence.
Yes. And here's a tip. After each conversation, don't criticize yourself too much. Instead, notice one or two things you did well. Maybe you understood a question quickly, or you explained something clearly. Celebrate that.
Absolutely. Positive reinforcement helps your brain stay motivated. If you only focus on mistakes, you'll feel discouraged and want to quit. But if you notice progress, you'll keep going and improve faster.
Right. And progress is happening even when you don't see it clearly. Every time you speak, you're strengthening the pathways in your brain. Eventually, those pathways become so strong that speaking feels effortless.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about something that might surprise you. Sleep. Sleep actually plays a huge role in language learning. When you sleep, your brain processes everything you practiced during the day.
Yes, studies show that sleep helps move information from short-term memory to long-term memory. So if you practice speaking English during the day and then get good sleep, your brain locks in that practice. It becomes part of your automatic knowledge.
Right. So don't sacrifice sleep to study more. Rest is just as important as practice. Your brain needs time to organize and strengthen what you've learned.
Exactly. And this is another reason why consistent daily practice is better than long, exhausting study sessions. If you practice a little every day and sleep well, your brain has time to process each session. That leads to faster, deeper learning.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about mindset, because this is often the biggest barrier. Many learners believe they'll never speak fluently because they started learning English as adults, but that's simply not true.
Right. Yes, children learn languages easily, but adults have advantages too. Adults can understand concepts faster, set clear goals, and practice with discipline. You absolutely can become fluent as an adult. It just requires the right approach and patience.
Exactly. And fluency doesn't mean perfection. Fluency means you can express your ideas clearly and comfortably without long pauses. Even native speakers make mistakes. What matters is communication, not perfection.
Yes, so let go of the idea that you need to sound like a native speaker. Your goal is to speak clearly, confidently, and naturally in your own way. That's more than enough for great communication.
Absolutely. And remember, every fluent speaker you see today was once a beginner. They struggled, made mistakes, and felt frustrated just like you. The only difference is they kept going. And you can do the same.
Right. So be patient with yourself. Celebrate small wins. Notice when you speak a little faster, when you don't translate, when you understand something new. Those moments prove you're improving.
Yes, and improvement happens in layers. Some days you'll feel confident, other days you'll struggle. That's normal. Just keep practicing and trust the process.
Absolutely. Now let's quickly recap the main ideas we've covered today. First, surround yourself with English every day through listening and input.
Second, practice thinking in English through inner speech and self-talk.
Right. Third, learn phrases in chunks, not just individual words.
Fourth, practice speaking at a natural pace, even if you make mistakes. Fifth, build confidence by repeating the same topics until they become automatic.
Yes, also, don't worry about perfect grammar. Focus on clear communication. Use shadowing to match the rhythm of native speakers. Learn vocabulary in context, not from lists.
Exactly. And talk to yourself out loud. Listen actively and have real conversations. Get enough sleep to help your brain process what you've learned. And most importantly, believe in yourself and stay patient.
Right. Speaking English without thinking is absolutely possible. It's not about talent or age, it's about practice, the right methods, and consistency. Your brain can and will adapt if you give it the right training.
Absolutely. So, start today. Pick 1 or 2 techniques we discussed and try them this week. You don't have to do everything at once. Small, consistent steps will lead to big changes over time.
Yes, and remember, every time you practice, you're rewiring your brain. You're building new pathways that make English easier and more automatic. Trust the process and keep going.
Well said, Priya. And to everyone listening, thank you so much for spending this time with us today. We hope you found this episode helpful and that you feel motivated to practice. Remember, fluency is a journey, and you're already on the right path.
Absolutely. And if you enjoyed this episode, we have many more topics waiting for you on Easy English Talk podcast. You can explore episodes about building confidence, improving pronunciation, expanding vocabulary, and so much more. Each episode is designed to help you grow as an English speaker in a calm, supportive way.
Yes, so take a look at our other episodes and choose a topic that interests you. We're here to support you every step of the way. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone. Keep practicing, stay positive, and enjoy your English learning journey. We believe in you. See you soon.